Hey hunties, let's talk about MAC's Face and Body collection for a second. This is a new collection launching online right now actually, but in stores in the US on September 13th. Most of these products are limited edition, but MAC's Face and Body Foundation, this one right here, is going to be permanent, as far as I'm aware, at stores, counters, all that jazz. If you want to see a review on MAC's Face and Body Foundation, check out my MAC Foundation review video. I talk to you about it. I also show you what it looks like. I do a little demo for you. I am wearing it right now. I'm also using the contour creams that are coming out with this collection. It's not going to be in this size though. This is the 4-ounce version that's typically available at pro stores. It's actually going to be in a 1.7-ounce version right here. This is actually face and body mixing medium, but it's going to be in this size, not this one. Before we get to all that, let's talk about the brushes for a second, because the brushes are the thing that got me to buy this collection in the first place. Those of you who don't know, I've been riding comfortably on a little, no MAC for me, thank you, I'm okay, train lately, and the brushes kind of made me go, what? Oh, okay. I'm a big brush fiend. I love to buy them, I love to shop for them, I love it when MAC comes out with a new limited edition one because it's usually really cool and I always want to get it. There's a MAC 163 brush that's launching, you can see right here. It's a flat topped, you can see how thick it is, kind of a thick and short paddle brush that's specifically designed to be used with the Contour Cream synthetic bristles, just so you know. And then there is an eye brush launching with this collection. This is the new MAC 215. Now this is somewhere in between a MAC 214, which is a small shader, it's like a smudger brush, and the 227. Which is a larger brush. You can see what these look like. It's basically a smaller, medium, and large version of the same brush. I really don't know how to start this. I'm trying to figure out how to segue into a let's talk about these brushes kind of a segment, and I can't do it. Let's talk about these brushes. Okay, I was really excited. You know, this is my advice. If you're gonna go out and get these brushes, you might want to pick up some of this too on your way. This is lube. You might want to get it, because Mac's gonna f you. Now, you don't need to put on your favorite come f me pumps. You don't need to do your hair. You don't need to put on any Tijuana tranny. Mac's gonna f you anyway. You see, because Mac doesn't care if you're unwashed, just home from the gym, in between waxings, and they're gonna f you. And just to be really clear here, they don't care if it's that time of the month, because they're not coming in the front door, y'all. Now, I was on Twitter earlier this week, and I was like, ooh, I love this brush, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get two. And a few of you were like, hey, have you ever tried the Sonia Kashuk version of that brush? And I said, no. Why would I go to Target to buy a makeup brush? But I did. I got in my car, I drove my ass down to Target, and I shopped for a makeup brush. I do believe I even tweeted about it, and the hashtag was hookerplease. I was in Target buying a makeup brush. So, I did get the Sonia Kashuk version of this brush. You can see they are very, very similar. The Sonia Kashuk version is a little bit smaller. Otherwise, they look pretty much the same. They feel very similar. The MAC one is more dense, therefore it is a little less fluffy. Otherwise, they are pretty much the same brush. So if you're a fan of this and you always wanted a MAC version, woohoo! Now that that's out of the way, let me tell you, when I opened this brush, it smelled like glue. Like glue and gasoline, and my first thought was, where? So I look at the brush, and it's made in China. I'm not going to say anything bad about things made in China, because a couple months ago I made an old joke about Eastern Europe that I thought was very funny. It is an old joke, it was a communist joke, a little bit outdated, that was part of the funny part, and a lot of you got, oh, your panties were in a wad, and everybody started yelling at me. In fact, only one of you actually asked me what I meant, and when I explained the joke, said, oh, okay, I get it. Instead, I'm going to send you now my telepathic thoughts on how I feel about things that are made in China. got it? Okay. So I immediately went to wash this brush. I wash all of my brushes when they're new. I don't want any kind of factory grime all over my face. So not only does this brush take 500 years to dry, but it's still got soap in it. And I rinsed it well, like 9 times well. And when I say well, I got aggressive with this thing, and there's still soap in it, which makes it kind of unusable because it gets all gummy and gross. So you can't really wash it, and it smells like glue. It is also very light for a brush this size. This handle should be much heavier than it is. It's not weighted very well. I actually thought that it was plastic. I actually called the store that I bought this from after I got it and said, hey, dude, is this plastic? Because this doesn't feel like wood. We'll get to its purpose in a second. Let me talk to you about the other brush, the 215 brush. Now, this brush is actually made in France. I'm assuming it's a special part of France where they don't know how to make makeup brushes. Now, I don't know what Max says about this brush, if they say that it's handmade or anything like that, but if you ask my opinion, this brush is machine cut. This is scratchy, very scratchy. In fact, it kind of hurts to use. Now, I'm going to be the first person to tell you that soft brushes mean nothing. Everybody says, ooh, I love this brush, it's so soft. Ooh, get this brush, it's so, spend $500 for this brush because it's the softest brush you'll ever have. People seem to be obsessed with this idea of you want the softest brush possible. No, you don't. Pay attention to how you put on makeup. I am extremely light-handed. Anyone who's seen me do makeup on models, you can tell, you can see, I barely touch the people. Because of that, really light, soft, fluffy brushes do nothing for me. All I do is make a mess. I don't pick up enough product, I don't get it on the face well. Now, if you're really heavy-handed and you are really all over your face, then yeah, by all means, get a soft brush. The point is, it's not just about the softest brush wins. However, in an eye brush, you don't want something scratchy, because it's your eyes, and it hurts. This hurt. I didn't like it. Now, we'll get to the other products in a second, but before we do, let's go back to this awful misfortune, because I feel so angry at myself that I actually went, ooh, this is cool, I'm gonna buy it, when time and time again I've been disappointed with so many of the limited edition collections from MAC over the last 2 years, and I was like, oh, okay, oh yeah, that sounds like fun. No. Now, this isn't a bad brush for everything. Some of you may actually like it. It's designed, as I said, to be used for contours and highlights. I don't think it works very well for that. If you like this brush for that and you have an easy time with it, then hey, by all means, try this out. Maybe you'll love it. It's far too precise for everyday wears. It places the product quite well, but it doesn't blend it at all. And if you're doing something dramatic, if you're trying to do drag makeup or theatrical, showgirl type makeup, I think that it's just too sloppy. It's too big, and again, it doesn't blend anything out well. So, while it does place product okay, you need a second brush just to buff out the edges. The other problem that I have with this as a contour brush, it's very hard to tell how much product you're picking up, and it's really, really easy to overdo it. Where this brush does excel, though, is as a foundation brush. In particular, if you use heavy coverage cream foundations or full coverage pressed powder foundations. MAC's full coverage foundation and Studio Fix powder. It handled both of these foundations very, very well. In particular, full coverage foundation blended out really nicely with this. You got really good, even coverage, and it just looked, it's probably one of the best brushes that I've ever used for applying MAC's full coverage foundation. Now, for a pressed powder foundation, you're going to get heavy coverage with this brush, but you're also going to get a lot of control. This isn't a big fluffy brush that you're buffing all over your face. You're really packing on the product. This acts almost like a sponge when applying this. The problem that I have with this as a foundation brush is, one, you can't wash it, and two, you really can't get around the eye area. It's too stiff, it pulls and it tugs, and it also has a very hard time, because it's so large, getting into any sort of corner small area. So that's my thoughts on those. Again, always make up your own mind. Let's talk about some of the other products that came out with this collection though. There are a set of contour creams and then pressed powder pigment things. Pressed pigments is what they're called. Now, I didn't get everything, but I got sort of an assortment of products from this collection. I got 3 of the creams and 3 of the pressed powder pigments. The creams that I got were Accentuate, which is actually more of a highlighter than a contour cream, Copper Beach, and Coffee Walnut. Now, I did a fair amount of swatches, which you'll see on your screen, showing what these contour creams look like next to other foundation shades too. The foundation that I used was MAC's Studio Fix Fluid. I thought that this would just help as kind of a reference point to see how it compares to these other shades. Now, the problem that I had with a lot of these contour creams is that they're very, very warm. They have a lot of red, a lot of orange in them. And when you're contouring, you really don't want to add a lot of color. You want to add shadow. And if you think about how shadow lays across something, it doesn't make red or orange, it makes gray, it makes black. So you really want to have something with a lot of gray in it. As far as the texture of these Pro Sculpting Cream goes, I found them to sit somewhere in between a MAC Pro Paint Stick, a cream color base, a cream blush. These are a little bit more emollient than a cream color base, not quite as full coverage as a paint stick. Moving right along to the pressed pigments, again I got 3. I picked up Warming Heart, Spotlit, and Deeply Dashing. Now, these are an interesting product in that I think they're sort of marketed as a highlight powder, but they don't really work as a highlight powder. They're too glittery, too pigmented, and just don't sit really well on the face to use as a highlight very lightly. You can't really dust these. However, I know you see swatches on your screen, but I'm going to put these on my hand so that you can see them in the light. You can see what these look like and how much light they're reflecting. These are very, very metallic, high shine with a ton of what looks like reflects pearl glitter in it. I would recommend using these as an eyeshadow, as a highlight on the inner corner of the eye, or if you use the darker one, something to really kind of, either blend out a smoky eye or add some shimmer and depth to a dark crease. Now, because I didn't pick up all of the products as sort of a favor to me, I got the manager at the MAC Pro store that I was shopping at to do swatches on paper. So while I know that these aren't swatches on skin, I think that using the cards plus going back and looking at the swatches that I did on my arm kind of gives you a little bit of an idea what these might look like in relation to one another, how they might look on your own skin. And that's about it. So, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. And until I see... Oh, no. You know what? This that I held up earlier, I actually held up for a reason because, yeah, I designed this bottle because these are some of the things that I do. A lot of you know that I do graphic design, retail design, stuff like that. I was actually hired to do this a while ago, and yeah, so if you want to own a little something that I did, go check this out. I'll include a link. This is personal lubricant. This is actually a hybrid lubricant, water and silicone based. I'm not going to tell you what this is supposed to look and feel like because this is a G-rated show, but it's pretty cool. Go check it out. I will include a link in the info section. I do believe they're having a sale right now. And that is, I don't know why, suddenly I felt like Julia Sugarbaker. Apparently that's what talking about lube does to me. I'm done. Until I see you next time, which will be soon, please take care and drive safe.